Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
To know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
and you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EGF. We are getting ready for round number 2 on the docket here. It's the DePaul Blue Devils going up against the newcomers to the EGF, the Montana Grizzlies. Should be a fun one.
Oh, I definitely agree. Montana is always one of my favorite words to say. So just being able to see how they work, especially because they're newcomers. So that room of mystery, the story, it's going to build on, and we're going to be able to see what kind of characters and style they're definitely going to be working with. But it's always good to see, DePaul return back and see how they're going to be working going up against such questionable opponents.
Right, and with the introduction of Montana, this is the part where we should look at the overall schedule of the EGF and our schedule for the rest of the day. See, Montana is part of the Big Sky Conference, which joined the EGF over the winter break. So we have some new schools joining the brawl this year, including I believe it's Weber State and Sacramento State in particular. And that actually allowed for some realignment of some of the teams in conferences. So if you look at that Central Division now, all of the newcomers, they have moved to that Central Division. And the defending champs, along with another newcomer in UT Arlington, move out of that Central Division into the Eastern Conference. So bit of a shift there, and it makes it very interesting because DePaul, they are in that Central Conference, and this Central Conference beforehand, it was stacked with talent. Of the, I believe it was 6 or 7 teams in the Central, 5 of them were playoff teams, and one of them was out of the playoffs by about a game. They were one game behind that bubble spot. So really a huge kind of shift there to move one player or one team away, the defending champs, and then have their grand finalists also now be in sole control of first place. But there are a bunch of uprising teams, and Montana State, or excuse me, I'm looking at all of these universities and states. Montana looking to be in that discussion, and if you're wondering how those playoff tiebreakers will work out, I believe it now comes down to win percentage, because obviously Montana, they couldn't necessarily catch DePaul unless DePaul were to lose all of their games. So it just comes down to conference record and win percentage. So should be fun to see. That being said, we don't have any info on Montana specifically, but DePaul, on the other hand, we do. They are the defending champs, and they have some prolific players. Some of these players all time have only lost a game or two. You look at players like Bobby Time on Pokemon Trainer. You look at Skull Kid's Nest. You look at Akaro's Bayonetta. Really, the standout player this season, Ikana, brand new to the roster, 7-1, rocking the Young Link.
That's incredibly interesting too. Just coming in as, returning champions, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, especially, you're going up against a team that's very unproven just now. So, if Montana kind of show up today, not only would that be incredibly impressive, but then you would look at DePaul, a little questionable still, though. They have talent, and I mean capital T, star at the end of the question, talent, when it comes down to these players, because you're 100% right. I think they play a lot of really strong people, especially with characters that I'm more used and knowledgeable to playing with, and though they still kind of go off with people who I would say a bit more questionable, because, Bayonetta is not a popular pick, but is not considered underrated. And Mega Man, we saw from before, it is a pretty strong pick with somebody who knows how to play it. And, you're not going up against someone whose playstyle is extremely similar. And yet characters like Terry, Young Link, Ness are all very good tiers that just by the characters alone, we can tell that these players, they're ready to go all out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. DePaul, I mean, all of these players on DePaul, they have gotten off to such huge starts. I mean, Skull Kid in particular has been, he may not be the most flashy of players, right? You look at PT and you think, okay, there's going to be some combos. You look at Akana, there's going to be some combos. You look at Akaro, then some of the numbers he's put up, some of the big wins he's gotten. And Skull Kid, I don't think he's necessarily as flashy, but my goodness, look at those numbers. He's got 7-0 on the season, 13-1 last season. That puts him at 20-1 all time. And I'm not sure who he lost to, but they must have just been playing hot on the day, because Skull Kid, his Ness is doing fantastic right now.
Honestly, I wish I had Skull Kid's controller. It's got to be modified or something. I mean, 20-1 of all time within the EGFC. That's impressive, to say the least. And, that's something where I'm going to be following that person on Twitter, see what clips you post, and then copy that style, because it's going to be a matchup, though they are not the players to be seeing, at least when we go in first. Young Link versus Sonic. That's definitely one of its own type of matchup. Hyena and Rodoku. We're going to have to see how they try to kind of counter out each other.
Akana versus Rodoku. And Akana, again, new to this roster, was not on the team last season, but this season he has shown up in a big way. Kind of the more constant names that we're seeing, week in and week out, 7-1. And I think one thing about Akana's Young Link in particular, it does a very good job of controlling the pace of these matchups. And against Sonic, I feel like that's a hard thing to do. Sonic feels like a character that should be able to control the pace of a matchup easily.
I mean, it's the name of the game. It's a Sonic, you're too slow, gotta go fast. It's understandable, but that's where I feel the Young Link thrives better on, because if you're a little too fast, you may walk into attack. You have to be a little more cautious, and that means you have to play a little bit more slower, which, I mean, it's still a playstyle for Sonic, but it definitely goes against the name, and Young Link is thriving more off of it.
A couple of times now we've seen Akana try and land that up B as a punish. That's the first real time it's hit, but that down air will kill. That's a clean conversion from Akana.
Just look, it enables an absolutely beautiful conversion, and I love how much Ayana is playing back but going in when they have an optimal time. Though it's not always working, it's still forcing Sonic to have to play even slower, and Sonic is all about these combos. Sonic is all about moving in it and kind of being as annoying as you can. So it just kind of, it's more struggling. This is where you see Rodoku just play a bit more back. Still wants to go aggressive, but it's not working as well.
Rodoku, this is the part where I feel like he's starting to search for that kill move, right? You gotta find a way to seal away these stocks, and Akana really not allowing for any great openings, right? All these projectiles getting in the way. That Nair is so good. Look at a combo come through quickly. That up B, you will get punished, but that up throw is not going to kill quite yet.
It's just not going to be working too well. I mean, take your time. You've got a lot of it. It just seems that the Young Link is more than prepared to abuse every second. I mean, at 120, taking the 2 stocks already, and it's setting up for a pretty clean third. It's just more of Sonic just looking for these opportunities. And, I mean, how do you engage against the Young Link being able to hit you at every possible corner? Sometimes I think you just need to go brain empty, walk in, and try to punch them in their face.
You gotta find a way through all these projectiles first, though, and Akana just continuing to press here. I will say, Akana taking both of those stocks via kind of a missed tech on the platform, and then rather than going with something like up air, which I think most characters would go for, he opts for that down air because it's got more knockback. But look at that setup, and Rodoku, I mean, he's on the verge of getting 3 stocked here.
I mean, Sonic can't really confirm a kill. More of just Sonic's abilities have been continuously of just knocking your opponent off stage and then trying to set up for that confirm. But Young Link's versatility just enables that pressure. You don't want to go in after it, and that's a 3 stock!
Ikana is on fire, just like the arrows he's putting out. That was a clean conversion into that forward air, and DePaul picking right back up where they left off. 3 stock here in game number 1, and yeah, this is trial by fire for the new guys to the scene.
I mean, there's no other way to learn than just not being absolutely crushed, but just being punched as hard as you can in the face. That's my favorite phrase to say, by the way. I think it just shows how much DePaul have been improving and planning for this season. I mean, the Young Link usage was just absolutely glorious. I can't really see a simple part where I feel they should have used maybe this more, maybe throw more bombs, maybe throw more boomerangs. It was just an absolute beautiful usage of how to control, and I just feel it's a bit more unfortunate on that matchup for Rodoku. Maybe a possible switch coming out. It's just not as comfortable feeling the Sonic, and especially when there are 2 platforms and you're continuously being caught on top of them.
I mean, for Rodoku, you're clearly able to get some percent, right? I mean, it kind of gets to what was he, 177 here when he finds this last stock. So you're able to find ways in and do damage. It's just a matter of being able to actually land that kill move, and Akana just did such a good job of, you know, playing a little bit more cautious, finding his one opening, and even better, just knowing, hey, if I get this exact hitbox, if this arrow lands, I know exactly where to be to follow up on it.
Yeah, that's why I think Young Link is by far one of my most favorite characters in Smash. Not as heavy as comparably Adult Link, not as floaty as comparably to Toy Link, or whatever name they technically want to get it, Cartoon Link. I call him Toy Link because that's how it feels. You have so much versatility that I think you can basically play in any type of scenario and do amazingly. I think that's one of the shining moments, but I think that's more given to the player of just not over-aggressing, not trying to be flashy, but just making sure whatever they do is the most optimal opportunity. And, well, I think the 3 points as we start off in the series shows for itself.
Yeah, and it's not to say that there weren't openings, but Rodoku just couldn't quite take full advantage. I mean, there were a couple times early on in that set, you know, I kind of wants to punish with that up B, because not only is it a damaging move, but you can also possibly get a follow-up off of it, something like an up air maybe. And it was just kind of like a little bit of hesitation from Rodoku of, okay, I want to punish with this, but that thought process took a little bit too long and he doesn't get there in time, and all of a sudden Akana's ready, you know, with another projectile, with a bomb, with something. So for Rodoku, you almost have to wonder if, you know, maybe playing just faster is the thing to do, or if maybe you change the pace entirely, slow it down to find and pick your way through all these projectiles.
I mean, I'll give you that. That's a game theory in itself, but I feel this map pick was absolutely necessary. You get rid of those platforms, you get rid of Young Link's necessary type of ways, you know, to force you to play very uncomfortably, and everything is just a straightforward punch. You're absolutely right in the idea that you can play faster now, and maybe that's what you need to do. However, Rodoku still needs to respect the utility of Young Link just being able to throw that boomerang, maybe try to throw out a fire arrow and hit you off. It's very rarely that you're going to be countered out like this, and that just takes the patience of the Sonic player.
Rodoku looking for an opening, but kind of finding these nairs. That forward air almost getting the kill, too. Very clean conversion. That bomb actually connecting. And it's because Rodoku was facing the wrong way, but either way, he will be able to make it back to stage. He's at 134. Dropped his shield at the wrong time. Akana taking the first stock.
I mean, looking like a good showcase so far, but Rodoku was spending a lot of time with these charge-ups, and I mean, it's not the worst thing, but you're not really getting these opportunities to confirm the kills, and that's what's being the biggest problem for your entire playstyle. I mean, just look, as we see, Ayana walk back into the fight and is forcing you into the air, limiting your space, and now you're at kill percentage.
Like you said, at 100%, waiting for a punish here, rolls away instead, so opting to back off of that spin charge, finds another neutral B, but just eating a lot of damage from all of these projectiles on his shield, and that down tilt connects into the up air. Rodoku already on his last stock.
I mean, Rodoku was the imposter, just being knocked out of the ring. I mean, at least you now have your opponent in this range. And there still always is that comeback potential. I think you very much need to abuse these wide openings, especially with the frame delay that goes in for Young Link. It can be absolutely annoying, and that's just a beautiful punish right there.
Finding the timing on that ledge get up, does manage to find a forward smash, so stock on the board there for Rodoku, but Akana still in very much control of this set. Got 35 on Rodoku, does find a way through the first projectile, but quick follow-ups on the combos too from Akana. Rodoku already, he's nearly at kill percent right now. If something comes through that forward, they're not going to connect. The second one into the up B, and there, off the top, no, off the side, and it does not matter. Akana, a solid showing in set number 1. Game 2 is all theirs.
I mean, with the Goron Tunic, it's just bringing in the heat. I think that's a statement of how this series and the rest of the DePaul's players are going to be working on. Young Link is just too good. You get so much value, and I mean, there is very little that you can't kill with just doing basic damage. That's definitely going to be one of my highlights of the series, though. Rodoku, I think, had a pretty decent showing of how that Sonic works. We definitely saw the adaptation and the improvement going into Final Destination. The stock was taken, so, you know, you're not leaving getting full 6 stocked. Regardless, we definitely are going to be looking at Montana to see what other crazy ideas they're going to be showing us.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I feel like the story of this matchup was really that Rodoku had chances to find openings, find combos, but at the end of the day, couldn't get much out of them, right? You know, I mean, even on something like this edge guard, actually, right? He throws out that up B, the spring hits, and that's really it, right? There's not much else. He has to read this ledge get up, and he does so brilliantly. But that was the first real opening he'd gotten. Any other opening was just maybe kind of one hit and done. And against a character with such fast projectiles like a Young Link, that's just a hard matchup to play into.
Yeah, I definitely feel you're more... Rodoku was more or less relying on their opponent to make those very obvious mistakes, and especially with that kind of getting back on the edge was a risk in itself. But, you know, I feel like Ayana just really didn't care. They felt satisfied knowing that they had the confidence in themselves to push forward, and it worked to great degrees. Now they lead 8-0, which I gotta say is a beautiful start for anybody coming in as the defending champions.
8-0 is the perfect start, but that stock on the board for Rodoku. Either way, we get ready for our second match here. Looks like Cookie has been, I believe, locked in for the moment for DePaul. And Cookie, another one of these players for DePaul. We haven't seen him this season, but we did see him a little bit last season. Another Bayonetta player in this lineup. And he's had, you know, moments of brilliance, but also moments where, you know, he's going up against maybe the best player from another team and it falls just short. So we'll have to see how he plays here. I feel like he's very much a momentum guy. When he gets going, there's just no slowing Cookie down.
Personally, for me, I always like to describe Cookie as the shotgun type of character. May not have great range, but when you're up close and personal, it could be absolutely devastating. And you definitely made a great point of just sometimes when they throw out Cookie, it's not always at the best scenarios. Sometimes it's going up against a player who's very impressive, and it ends up leading to a loss. But I feel Cookie's that's what built up the mentals, and you know, they're coming in with an iron will, looking to continue at least the stock victory advantage that's been going on right now. I definitely feel, Mr. Soy, that Cookie may kind of shine a little more than we're used to seeing.
We'll have to see as Montana, they get their next player ready. Not quite sure who they'll be sending in yet. Actually, we've got a switch here, it looks like, on the side of DePaul. Legacy,
I respect that,
coming into play here. Legacy, I believe I remember seeing him for a different game. I believe he plays Rocket League. I might be thinking of a different Legacy, but either way, DePaul sending in Legacy. We don't have any notes on him, so I believe this is his first appearance on stream. And for Montana, I believe it is Colo, or I believe that is how his name is pronounced, coming in for Montana. So 2 new players to the scene coming in here. First time on stream, I believe, for both of them. Curious to see what they bring to the table. But what this really says for DePaul, I think, for match number 2, you to send in a player who may or may not have that kind of stream experience. It goes to show the depth of this lineup, right? Most players, like we said in the last set, most teams have, those 5 guys, those solid 5 that you're going to see week in and week out. But now we're seeing some of these schools, have maybe 15-ish players, full sets that they could send in of all just backups if they wanted to, just to try and get some time, get some matchup experience. In fact, if I think back to last season when Mississippi State won the championship, we asked them, what was the difference maker? What makes you guys such a threat? And they said, not the homework that they did, but rather the number of characters that they could play, just the matchup diversity that they had. They felt like they could counterpick just about anybody or get any matchup that they wanted specifically. And I think DePaul is starting to hit that level too, right? They've got, maybe their solid 5 from last year, but maybe with a guy like Legacy or, Cookie and I believe it was Icaro, the 2 Bayonettas, having different styles of play, that's really going to help them down the line.
Honestly, I think you make a very excellent point, especially, they're kind of close to the supreme territory of collegiate scene of how I like to say a player is. And talking about versatility is not, I think, something we often bring up. Normally we're looking at players who, not one trick, but they specialize on a specific character, on a specific play type. So to see DePaul entering in this new world of possibilities where we don't even know the heroes that they normally play are going to be the heroes that they play, that's definitely something that we'll be watching. And I guess Hero versus Cloud is the one we're going to be working with. Not necessarily very similar characters, though they are both sword fighters, and we have enough of those in Smash. They have entirely different game plans.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually don't see a lot of either of these 2 characters, and Legacy off to a big early start. And I do somewhat remember a Legacy on DePaul, but I don't believe they played Cloud, but I could be completely wrong. Either way, they're off to a fantastic start. That was such a smart Blade. What? I'm at a loss for words. That was a fantastic way to turn that around.
They are Legacy's entering into the supreme territory right now. That's all I know what to say. I mean, that's just a beautiful understanding of your own character's mechanic, and I mean, that's why some people don't play Cloud, is because the big blue beam is not always the strongest thing to use, and when you get a little bit creative like that, it's when it starts to shine. Hero's not getting any moment to be even able to use their own abilities, which is the worst part about it, because that's what you play Hero for, is the randomness, the chance. And I mean, how does it work when you're being head stomped by Cloud?
Ooh, yeah, Legacy is feeling it right now. Not only did he go for the footstool like you saw, but then the read on that up smash, knowing that, hey, you're going to be right here on this platform. They are not giving Colo any chance to breathe. And and it just continues. That is a strong forward air to land. 46 on Colo. He'll eat that neutral B as well. And Colo just looking for any sign of life here.
I think it's more impressive on the pressure that Legacy adds on. I mean, you're allowing Colo to even get on the stage, but I don't think that's what you're looking for to kill. I think you're just looking to solidify high damage moments and hit these edge guards, which is working to great degrees. It's just unfortunate you get caught by the sizzle. Colo still looking bright.
Legacy losing his first stock to the sizzle. Very quick projectile, but look at all the pressure off stage. Colo has to air dodge early, looking for something, finds Bounce, but that back air, yeah, Bounce isn't going to stop that one, and Legacy with a 2-stock victory to start off his match.
I gotta say, Legacy, I mean, I was expecting some pretty good performance. I was expecting, what we're used to seeing from DePaul, but I feel that is not what we're used to seeing. that's a new level. At least I'm at least caught off guard, especially by the usage. I mean, still going with the fundamental of Cloud of saving up for your limit breaker and using it as much as possible, as fast as possible, so you can continue to rotate rather than saving it. I think that's what shows kind of how Cloud is meant to be played and what that factor benefits in. When you're playing someone like Hero and you're trying to get set up to even do an attack, it's not really going to help, especially when Cloud as a character has faster frames against you. It's a heavier weapon, but a faster character. Hero is relatively, I would consider slow, honestly. You know, it's very much up to the magic and the kind of spells you have to make that difference. Otherwise, you aren't really going to be working as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. You're really only going to be about as fast as Cloud once you get Accelerate on, and that's not a guarantee with all 30, I believe, spells in Hero's playbook. So, Colo will be really looking for some answers here as we get ready for game number 2, because Legacy, I mean, he was in control of that match from dropping off the platform in the first place, right? I mean, just not only right off the start does he get the chain of up airs, but then he's so smart with that neutral B as an edge guard. I've never seen that. I mean, I've seen a lot of Cloud, but that's just a new trick in the book.
Honestly, I think that's just something a lot of people don't think is relatively viable, but I guess when it goes up against Hero, that's something that you're prioritizing and even looking for. I just feel more bad on the fact that Hero as a character, you cannot just spam your own abilities. You have to know what you're using, and it's those split seconds which may get you punished.
As both go back and forth here. A little bit slower of a start here in game number 1. Well, never mind. It's Hatchet Man coming through and getting, what was that, 70%? I think it was actually 60% either way. Legacy had a little bit of a deficit now, but that is quite the opening from Colo.
That's quite interesting. Legacy's playing a lot slower compared to the first time. We're not seeing as much kind of guarding, and that may be a given solely because there were platforms which mess up how Cloud really wants to take these engagements. Either way, Hero's getting a lot more opportunity to set up and use the abilities. I mean, look at that bounce, brought back up, the fire strike there. It's just not looking as cleanly from Legacy.
A slower pace, a little different. That Flame Slash actually going to take the first stock here. So Legacy at disadvantage now, but has the back air, almost another. We'll take a little bit of damage there from that up B, and nearly found another one as first real damage Colo has gotten this stock, and I feel like Legacy is starting to get back to that fast-paced play.
You gotta be really careful against Cloud. I mean, limits built. You don't even need to use that limit to kill, but I feel Legacy is always looking to optimize every kill, and that just confirms it, making sure that they save up the bar. And as much as Colo has that super armor, it's not forever, and Legacy is now adapting to you, especially the stages. I mean, that was such a prediction right there on dodging the grab.
Colo back into disadvantage, actually ends up turning metal, so what will Legacy do? He'll just wait, and actually doesn't get anything off of it. He gets grabbed first, so Colo kind of getting away with one there.
I mean, you just gotta be a bit more careful because the limit burst. It's going to catch you out if you're not paying attention, and, well, once you're at that 70%, that's Cloud's basic moment of looking to shut you down. You are very slow, so going up against a character that's really fast, you gotta go back to setting yourself up for victory, for the best chance optimal, and not letting Legacy adapt.
Legacy with limit break, and Colo gotta be very careful here as limit is gone. That will not land, and Legacy is at high percentage here, and remember, every single stock matters, so Colo can get anything here, can take this next stock. It could be massive for the overall point score, but Legacy playing so well. Great turnaround there, and so that actually should do it. That's going to take the stock, and Legacy holds on. 2-stock victory in game 2, and DePaul off to a big early lead.
Gotta say, that hurts a lot because Colo got back on the stage. The problem was, Hero has a delay when they return back after using the recovery ability, and it is a couple seconds that Cloud is able to abuse and shine through. But I mean, Legacy did an amazing job on the back foot initially, but then like immediately finding what worked and predicting against their opponent. Colo definitely got a couple strikes off that put Legacy on the back foot and made them question their own mindset. I feel like that's really how you should be playing Hero too. It's just as unpredictable as possible. However, it seems Legacy has like the brain work that rivals NASA computers just to be able to predict what's going on.
I mean, it certainly felt like even off of the start when Colo got the advantage, Legacy just kind of almost flipped the switch in his head and said, okay, this plan isn't working anymore. It's time to go back to the tried and true. And once he kind of upped the pace of the match, Colo just didn't have the time to respond, right? And it's like we said, you know, if you can take advantage of that speed, that's fantastic. And Colo just could not find a workaround for it.
I think kind of continuing on in this series, this is where you can kind of take a moment to reflect on your own mistakes, give your next teammate that advice just so they don't attempt to repeat it. Still though, 13-0, DePaul want to go strong. I also love how seriously they're taking their opponents over at Montana. I don't know, there's a lot of people with egos and they will, you know, meme on their opponents if they feel they are weaker than them, and that's just no fun. So to see them go head to head and we're seeing the true brains kind of awaken, I think that's a really shining and like kind of wholesome way to go at this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when you're going up against a team and you have no prior knowledge of what they are going to, you know, bring to the table, you know, why not, you know, just throw out your best and see how you do? Because Montana, you know, in theory, they've got, you know, a little bit of film to watch already on DePaul. You know, they can see, okay, they've played some matches already. What do they have at their disposal? And then maybe you get the chance to kind of counterpick. But so far, DePaul showing, hey, you know, we came here to play. We are not here to mess around one bit. Players have been locked in. Floral going to be locked in for the side of DePaul. Not quite sure which character Floral plays, but Floral's somewhere we're starting to see more of him on the DePaul side. 2-1 so far, and I believe his only loss came at the hands of, I want to say, Colorado, which is another team that is in this central division that was so stacked. Colorado, actually, DePaul played Colorado in the Independent Conference Finals last season, and so, you know, one of the more challenging teams that's in this central division, and they were able to win that match at the end of the day. But Floral, I think someone they're gonna slowly rely on more as the season goes on.
I definitely agree, and at least this gives us a moment to kind of ponder what ideas are going to be going through. We don't know either players' kind of style, well, not necessarily style, but what characters they are going to be playing. And I think that's going to make a big difference, especially since we've seen a pretty diverse set so far. Cloud, we've had Hero, obviously the last two I easily remember, but the point I'm making is that we could honestly expect I could consider anything as a possibility.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's also kind of worth noting these matches in particular. I always put an emphasis on conference matchups because, you know, those are the matches that matter down the line. In those conference championships, you're seeded based on how you do in your in-conference play, not in your overall play. The overall play matters for the national bracket, which both of these teams have a chance of qualifying for. Obviously, DePaul, kind of one of the favorites going into this season based on independent championship and grand finalists last season. So Montana, I think they kind of knew coming in here, hey, this isn't out of the frying pan into the fire. This is more like, you know, just the fire itself. And so we'll, you know, it was hard to say how they were going to do coming into this. We see that's Montana's side. Blue Cheese, the player, locking in the Joker, and Floral on the roll.
I mean, Joker is by far one of my most favorite characters when it comes to this game. Mostly in style points, but I just think the mechanics and how it works are very useful. Still, though, seeing out Roy, that is my favorite, just because Roy is so good. It's like being back in Melee. As much as you have a counter and you're as versatile on Joker, I mean, what are you going to do against a character who can just punch you to oblivion?
All of the options on Roy just so quick, and look at the damage he can rack up too. Blue Cheese already into the corner here, and he will be able to get out for the moment, but so many fast options for Floral. Throw up the forward tilt there, nearly getting the kill, and with Arsene off the table, Blue Cheese is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, just being blasted off, the recovery is nice, but I don't know if Flora is just playing with an actual stick shift and is just moving in at the speed of a Tesla, but they are just going at a different pace to where Blue Cheese doesn't really know what exactly to do. And I mean, in those moments where the counter is even available, Flora grabs instead, which is a beautiful idea to trick your opponent. You're more relying on using the abilities in spacing, but that's not really what Joker thrives on, and it's really showing.
That was really smart by Floral too. Not only does he get the parry, but then the punish of that up B. That is a surprisingly damaging move. And with that, Arsene off the table once again. Jab back air. That's the classic Roy. And Floral now up 3-1.
I gotta say, it is so classic, but it is always so satisfying to see. I'm more worried, though, because Blue Cheese collectively hasn't been able to do too much. It's now looking to play more onto the aggressive, but the spacing doesn't really matter against a character like Roy, who already has a counter, meaning that if you're a little too aggressive, you'll be punished for it, but if you're a little too, passive, Roy just gets all the room in the world to just walk into you and then hit you in the face, as I always say. So that's not really going to be looking too great. You've got to be confirming these moments, even if your opponent is at 114, it might as well feel like 0.
Yeah, Blue Cheese has to play very carefully here. Here comes another combo from Flora. Wants that kill move. Almost found the forward smash. Was looking for an air dodge in, but Blue Cheese is able to get out of it for the moment, but he's eating a lot of percent while doing so. That up air not going to kill quite yet. Looking to find a landing. Gets the dash attack. Floral's off stage. Does he find the edge guard? Can't quite find him. And that dancing blade, the last hitbox does connect, and Floral with a 3-stop.
Is there anything more annoying than someone who won't die? I beg to differ. I think that play was just incredibly impressive. I don't know if it's just, Flora being able to hold their controller all the way to the side so they don't fall off the edge, but Blue Cheese just not being patient enough, gets caught out by the dance, gets punished, gets 3-stock. That's incredibly unfortunate, especially since you could say that Blue Cheese was very close to getting that stock and was starting to figure out what style they wanted to work with. Unfortunately, it just was not fast enough. Now they're going to be going into this next set with a lot of information, but the question is, can they execute it?
Yeah, and it felt like Blue Cheese had some openings, he had opportunities, but I feel like the playstyle very much so changed when Arsene's on the table, which of course it does, right? You have so much more raw kill power when you have Arsene out there, but Blue Cheese, when he was just, Floral's at such a high percent, and it just felt like at the end of that match, he's just trying to find any kind of kill move and just trying to find some sort of opening to do so. But without Arsene on the table, Floral was not afraid of really anything Blue Cheese was throwing at him.
Yeah, I think the most interesting part, though, is on the side of Montana, we're actually going to get a switch of characters over to Wolf rather than onto Joker. And I think that is quite interesting. I don't feel Wolf is necessarily strong. I definitely feel he's a lot better when giving in the pressure, but I still feel a character like Falco, which is definitely similar, still has a lot more versatility going up against a character who's thriving in this format. Your gun is by far the best ability you have, yet you still got to respect your opponent. Flora will be looking to abuse you at every moment.
We'll say on a smaller stage like this too, the gun is going to be very pivotal in not only the use of its timing, but also just for stuffing out a lot of Floral's options. Floral's a character, they gotta get in close, right? They've got to run at you. And that gun it does a surprising amount of damage. So just having that projectile out there could do a lot. That being said, things are even off the start here. Blue Cheese controlling center stage, but counter, turn around, and oh my days! Forward smash, taking the first stock off the board, and Blue Cheese already at a deficit.
I mean, Blue Cheese Wolf has such a big delay compared to how Roy works, so it's going to be easier for Flora to just confirm these kills. And as much as I love the poke damage coming in, you gotta respect your opponent, and you've got to look to go in for the kill rather than just getting in that chip damage as a character like Wolf.
Blue Cheese gotta be careful here. That up smash actually traded, and any trade at this point just goes in Floral's favor. 140% on Floral right now, and he finds another forward smash too. Blue Cheese on his last stock.
I mean, at 140, this is definitely better than we last saw it. Wolf looking a lot stronger, but without the ability to fully confirm or having this opportunity, it's almost as if Blue Cheese is setting themselves up. No recovery available, and that is an impressive 3-stock as well as edge guard.
And the second that he used his jump, you just knew. Floral recognized it instantly, right? Gets around him, uses that dancing blade, and then just the immediate runoff forward air, catching that jump. Blue Cheese, nowhere to go, nowhere to get back to stage from. He's got the right idea on that angle, but that side B not coming out quite fast enough, and Floral, another strong showing from him. I mean, what percent was he at? 140-ish, and able to survive and get the 3-stock on the board for DePaul?
It was roughly that, if not higher, and I think that's that's basically a basic melee combo, and you get knocked off. I mean, just look at 2 stocks, 130, and being able to get away with practical murder is not something that we're often seeing when it comes down to these matches. So I think that's also an impressive showing from Flora, but also Blue Cheese kind of just not figuring out the correct way to approach against an opponent, especially one like Roy. Yeah, exactly. You were right. 140.1 exactly. So a percentage off.
Either way, Floral with a very strong showing. And if those are the types of showings that we're going to see throughout the rest of this spring split, I'm excited, because that is, Roy is a character that I don't think we see a lot of here at the EGF, but the ones that do show up, again, it's kind of like Mega Man. The ones that show up, they show up in a big way, and Floral starting to make a name for himself here. That's his 3rd win of the EGF in his, opening season here. And like we said, DePaul, the depth of this roster really coming through in the clutch. Cookie will now be locked in for the side of DePaul, that Bayonetta player that I mentioned earlier. And looks like for Montana, Rald is going to be locked in. Again, not quite sure who Rald plays for the side of the Grizzlies, but Cookie, again, a player we haven't seen last split. We didn't see him, but the season before, we saw him a couple of times, and he played very well in the few times that he was locked in for the roster. He was typically used around that 3rd or 4th spot. So in matches that could shift the tide, he was put in and did a pretty good job for himself, a winning record. But I mean, DePaul was just on fire last split. So excited to see if the Bayonetta comes back out again, or if he's got something new to bring to the table.
I mean, this is definitely an opportunity where you get that room to experiment, but I'm always a man of polishing. I'd rather see you, master a single character and be able to show off the talents and how much you've improved on, but it could also be like, keep what other characters you can play in your back pocket, because you never know who's watching this game, studying every move you make. So having those tricks up your sleeve, I think, is definitely useful. Also, I know people who are like big Bayonetta fans, so being able to see Bayonetta, gives me moments where I can like have a bit more knowledge than them. So it's always that kind of victory that I'm always looking for, as well as Bayonetta is always, I think, an interesting character to go up against, because the exact way to defeat her is not always obvious. With Roy, with Falco, with Wolf, I feel there's always a center idea, but Bayonetta just like in the old games, still can be devastating.
Yeah, you've got a couple of different ways to kind of approach, right? And I do want to say, while we've got a little bit of time here, DePaul 21-0 over Montana here. So they have locked in the win. And this is kind of on par for what we've seen from DePaul in the overall score lines. They are, they are tied for first overall in the EGF because they are one of the few undefeated teams remaining. But their point differential, it is first it is first overall in the league, 141 points for, and you're already up 21. That's it feels like this is a return to form for the Blue Devils.
No, you're definitely right. I feel that they have sharpened their fangs. They have put everything on the line, and they're definitely showing for it. One of the, I would say, more, not flashy, but more impressive teams that I've definitely been having the honor to be able to cast over. And I gotta say, I think that is kind of given to the fact that they are close to the supreme territory, as I so allude to. Yeah, it's definitely going to be that moment of where they shine through. And I guess more, I'm kind of looking at Montana, seeing which players have that ability to shine or potential to improve over the series, because we definitely saw a couple lackluster performances, but also some very impressive moments. And I think those players are definitely kind of getting that experience now, shaking off whatever anxiety they have. And by the time they come back next week, they will be ready.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You look at this Montana roster, from what we've seen so far, you've got Rodoku's Sonic, which had its moments, but couldn't quite find ways to clean up stocks against Ikana. Kolo's Hero actually didn't look half bad. It just didn't have the time it needed to really get anything going. Legacy was just all over him. So you have those kind of straightforward things to maybe work on, just quicker thought process of just, okay, I need to get to this faster, or I need to do this faster because they're going to be on me quicker. And even here for Blue Cheese, right, you've got this Joker that had its moments, but fell a little short. And Wolf, you got to play a little bit cleaner when you're off stage. Your recovery is a little bit more limited. And while we're not sure what the rest of Montana will bring, it's also interesting to note that if you look at the scope of this division, DePaul is in sole control of first place right now at 8-0. But if you're looking to try and get yourself into maybe second place, it's a crapshoot. You got teams like Colorado, Hawaii, and Marquette all at 4-4 overall, and Wichita State's at 3-5. And then the rest of this division is the newcomers: Weber State, Montana, Sacramento State, who we didn't get to see, unfortunately. So even if, this week didn't go as planned for Montana, you still got plenty of time to try and work your way back and give yourself a shot later on in the season.
Yeah, you're 100% right, especially, you kind of want to make a name for yourself this early on, but it does seem we are going with Min Min. This is not a character that I've traditionally been seeing. This is one of the more interesting picks, and I gotta say, coming out of DePaul, it's almost surprising to see such a newcomer on this platform.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Min Min, and I'm gonna be honest, I remember now that Cookie has a Min Min, but he's only ever used it once, and I think it was in a situation like this, where they were up, enough that they had the win secured, and I don't remember if Cookie won or not with this Min Min, but it is still a very threatening character. Look, Ronald's got no easy way in through all that reach.
Well, what I love about Min Min, especially being added into the game, even though they are not from a popular franchise, is just the setups. I mean, having that callback, being able to knock you off and hit you twice in the air. Name another character who can consistently do that. Raul is only going to struggle. The edge guard is punishing.
Yeah, right now 125 on Raul. They are able to get a little bit of an advantage here. Love the turnaround. That's the stock. Oh! What a turnaround on that neutral B. That was clean, and they've got the lead on Cookie.
I mean, That's what I'm talking about when it comes to playing that Greninja. However, I really don't think you want to play the range game against Min, especially one such as Cookie. That's one of the punishing moments where you had the lead and you accidentally gave it up. Now the big problem comes is to how do I break this distance, and I guess it's just kind of waiting for that cooldown to land, waiting for their hit delay to kind of come in and then punishing them from it.
Things relatively even here, but Rald able to find their way through with that dash attack, trying to find the combo starters, but no luck quite yet. Dash attack sends Rald away for the moment, and now he's got to find a way to land, and not the easiest thing in the world to do, but he does manage to make his way back, and Rald doing a very good job of, he took a couple of kind of early chip damage at the start of this match, but now he's starting to shield a lot more.
Definitely feel it's more of just Rald trying to figure out what to do against Min. I mean, what person logically is going to be screaming against this, or at least playing up against this, so, you're not used to the style, you're not used to the moveset and what they're able to do, and Cookie is showing it to such a beautiful degree that, honestly, it catches me off guard.
Another good catch, and Cookie again with that arm extension with the laser underneath. That's numerous times that Rald has been caught by it. So that tricky low recovery that we've seen a couple of Greninjas do today, it's not going to work necessarily. But the floods, maybe. Great snap to ledge there by Cookie.
I mean, Rald definitely showing that they have practice, they have the mechanical talent. It's just cleaning up, trying to break through. That's the problem. Cookie's doing such a good job of forcing Rald to have to walk in, especially due to the stock difference, that it's almost unfair how much the Greninja has to be on the aggressive. Still though, Min has so much room to recover in, especially when Rald is stuck at 110. One good smash is all it needs.
Rald with a smart turn there to get that back air and put Cookie on his last stock, but Rald is at 110, so any strong hit will do it. There, not gonna kill quite yet. I actually like that down air to try and mix it up, but he does get caught, and Cookie will take game one.
I mean, I just feel Rald was not used to how Min's hitbox really works. You really don't expect sometimes for that second arm to come out, and I definitely keep forgetting that that's an ability that Min gets, and it's working absolutely beautifully. I mean, when you just get the slow-mo and you get to see the first one come out, barely catches at the back of the head and shuts down the Greninja. Rald just did not have the room, or I think the game of error, definitely for in the second round. That's where we might see Rald start to shine a little more. Had some extremely impressive moments. This Shuriken was one of my favorites, solely just because Cookie had an opportunity to get back in, but that's just a good punish in itself.
Yeah, Rald did a very good job of edge guarding Cookie, which I'm more or less in terms of edge guarding this character. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's not, but Rald just had a very good read on the movement of, where Cookie wanted to be, because you have to respect the spacing, you have to respect, the way Rald is approaching you, right? You kind of have to wonder, what does he want? Does he want the forward air? Does he want the back air? Is he looking for the shadow sneak? You have to worry about so much, and Rald did a very good job of kind of masking which option he was going for by using things like the water shuriken, which ended up taking that first stock.
You're 100% right, and I think we're seeing kind of the more, I want to say, high level game Greninja mechanics that come out going up against Cookie, and those are moments where you're shining. Obviously, one of those moments was when you're using the flood recovery as a way to not allow your opponent to get back onto the stage, and that was by far one of my most favorite mechanics, because it's not a mechanic that I think often sometimes people are able to pull out at times. Still though, Rald managed to bring that basically stock for stock, being one of the more impressive Montana players. And now going back in, they have all the information they need. We'll have to see if they're able to take out the Min.
Yeah, I feel like as that match went on, Rald really started to get a better feel of what he needed to do in order to have the advantage in that matchup. But Cookie just had already put so much damage on. So round 2 here, you're seeing Rald off to a very hot start. Quick 76 on the Cookie, and Cookie's back into the corner, but the quick response to push Rald away.
I mean, all Cookie is looking for is to play at these edges, and you have not seen them look to play in the middle at all. The moment they do, they just look to retreat or force you to the edge, and with this map being as small as it is, it works to that playstyle, though Rald is doing an amazing job at least of trying to keep that distance, trying to make that space and go up against. The only problem is that Cookie is absolutely good when it comes to edge guarding, but Rald has found the weak points.
Finding that forwarder, taking the stock, and Rald is on the board here, at least for the moment. Good nair and the follow-up dash attack as well, and gets the drag down. Some of these Greninja combos really starting to add up. Quick 51 onto Cookie, and Cookie nowhere easy to run to. That dash attack not going to connect either. Rald, ooh, great drag down, and the wall jump from Min Min there to get away from him. Not sure that was planned or not, but either way, he'll take it.
Yeah, stuck, not being able to reach that corner. That's just what Cookie's been shining at, and honestly, it's been one of my, I think, flashy moments of being able to watch. And though Rald's still at the advantage, leads in not only health, but just in this pressure, not allowing Cookie to set up. Cookie has to put so much resources and time to leaving the fight that Rald is being able to punish by forcing themselves off the edge, and then Cookie runs up, then they just walk in and hit you. It's very unfortunate, but it is helping Rald figure out how to destroy Cookie's style.
Cookie right now down a full stock as combos just continue on. Nowhere really for Cookie to go. He's at 38% here. What? Another downer. Actually ends up tripping, and there's a good grab from Cookie to get Rald off stage. And that low recovery, that time able to get around the laser. That's something that Cookie's been very good at, the spacing on that edge guard to make sure that extended hitbox just makes it ever so threatening. And Rald trying to find a way back to stage. Can't get around that one though, and we're down to the last stocks.
Unfortunately, that was just a little bit too predictable. Cookie is also adapting in these fights and read it perfectly. The Greninjas have always used that style, so it's just a little bit unfortunate. The bigger problem comes is now being on one stock, you have no room for error, meaning that everything you do has to be pixel perfect, but Cookie has only been perfect. And now, though you get the combos, you have to secure the pick.
Couldn't get the drag down on that up air. An opportunity missed by Rald, but he is able to make it back to stage. The roll-in gets eaten by that dash attack, and now Rald trying to find an opening, but Cookie just with the quick option saying, get away, I do not want to eat another combo. It could mean death. The forwarder connects, and Rald gets Montana on the board.
I mean, you're not leaving this game without a win. That's what Rald said, and what an impressive show. That was incredibly close, down to the wire, and that's the adaptation. That's the player talent and kind of person that you'll be paying attention to as the series continues on. I definitely feel Montana, you know, you've got to put your eggs on to Rald. Did absolutely amazing against a player like Cookie, who's guarding was much more impressive than I truly expected to see, especially on a character like Min Min, which takes a while to get used to. You know, I don't think many players can do that similar.
No, absolutely. The spacing on those edge guards was very good, but Rald twice, as you're seeing in these replays, able to catch Cookie jumping out of disadvantage with that forward air. And not only just finding the forward air, but finding the strong hitbox of it too, to connect and take away those stocks. Here's another look at that edge guard. Just the spacing and the timing of it is just brilliant by Cookie, but Rald able to work around it and find the few openings he needed to take that second game.
I definitely feel that Rald spent most of the time on that first game just trying to figure out, you know, I don't see the issue with it regardless, either way, just because, I mean, it built up to this victory, it built up to having that stock advantage against Cookie, and in the end, Cookie just kept playing the same style, kept doing the same things, and it almost became like a musical note for Rald to play against, and that's a very shining point. So I think the more question goes into, are we going to see Cookie stay on to the Min Min. I definitely feel that's what's going to happen, and I wouldn't blame it. The Min Min's been looking strong, but with an opponent who's now sort of predicted against you, and depending on map choice, you may not have any platforms to be able to save yourself on. It may be better to go to an old, reliable character. However, I'm gonna give that respect. I'm gonna give that nod on the head because the Min Min stays in.
Yeah, Cookie's Min Min on game 3 here against Rald on this Greninja. Town and City, the map choice, and I'm not sure this gives a distinct advantage either way, but it does seem to be helping Cookie at the moment. Cookie has not been touching Rald already at 74.
Goes back to the simple idea of zoning it and how much space you have to lower it to your opponent. And unfortunately, this is in terrible spot for Greninja. I mean, not only that moment, you're side B, you're trying to get at them, and you end up going on top of the edge, but, well, Min Min is just able to hit you no matter where you go. Trying to close the distance is basically walking into a gun field, and it's just worse that the background isn't able to pick you up.
Yeah, that up B, right idea to get out of the way of that laser. It has been so damaging for Rald's chances because it keeps catching those low recoveries. So good idea to get around it. Unfortunately, the second half of that angle, not enough momentum to get him back to the ledge. So Rald down a full stock here, and Cookie only at 50, and just continuing to press here.
I mean, Cookie's been not even going up for these setups anymore. Rather, Cookie's been mostly playing this counteractive style where the entire point is let your opponent move, hit, block, and then you hit them. And it's definitely working well. I mean, look at Rald. Doesn't know what to do and is looking for these hits, but it is almost frustrating how they're missing out on.
Certainly, frustrating is a good word to use because you can tell Rald right now just trying to buy space, and that laser connected, nearly taking the stock. That just goes to show the spacing. That up smash even hitting, and Cookie just at a standstill saying, hey, approach me. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna get in? And not able to find that up smash, and you will get the stock either way, as it's like approaching a moving wall right now for Rald.
I really just want someone to make an anime opener when it comes down to Cookie's playstyle, because that was a JoJo type moment, you know, going with the casual. Though Rald eventually able to take out Cookie, finally said enough is enough, takes you out. I definitely feel Cookie still has the better advantage. It just matters if Rald can lower the distance and especially lower the time it takes to reach Cookie.
Does find the Nair, but that up smash gonna get Rald back to the skies. Can't quite find the back air. And Rald again, he spent so much of this game working from the corners. And he was able to overcome it in game number 2, but here in game number 3, just trying to find an opening. Can't get around the air dodge. And Cookie continuing to move forward here. Can't find the Nair, can't find the up smash. That back air might have just saved Rald's stock. And numerous up smashes from Cookie, none of them landing. And the down smash connects. So Rald has gotten Cookie to his last stock, but nearly at 100. And the laser mark, and Cookie seals away the set.
The overall storyline is just no more. I mean, Min Min putting on an amazing performance, and I've got to say, that laser used to near perfection at times, and I just think that's what kind of gave Cookie the edge, was that range. You know, Rald basically was struggling at every point the moment you got off the stage, and that's not really going to be working on a character like Greninja. I would debatably say that Min Min has some of the best range in the game, and especially some of the best utility at it, and when you're not able to kind of optimize your own close combat, well, it unfortunately means that you are going to be losing these matchups, especially when Cookie managed to bring in that adaptation, managed to change up that style a little bit, and take the lead.
Yeah, and for Rald, definitely a good showing, because Cookie is a very strong opponent, and so to push Cookie to game 3 last stock is a strong showing, but not enough in the tank to get by this Min Min. And again, I also think it speaks to the depth of this DePaul roster once more to have to deal with a character like Min Min who no one else is playing. Now they've got that kind of counter pick option in their pocket if they so choose, and Cookie's Min Min looking very strong.
I mean, when you just kind of take a second to look at these clips as well, it was almost kind of equal when it came down to the neutrals and just how much Rald was trying to adapt on the spot, just not having enough time, not having enough information. But I think this match has taught Rald so much when it comes down to matchups and against opponents all over the country. You're definitely, I think at least Rald is definitely going to be one of those players where I'll be paying a lot more attention to, especially being on a team where this is your first season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Rald getting the first point on the board for the side of Montana, but DePaul, they win the set, they get the bonus points. The score currently 25-1 in favor of the Blue Devils, and still one more set to go. We'll be waiting to see who those players are for the moment, but again, this is more or less what we expected from the defending champs, right? They are, or not the defending champs of the independent conference, the second place finishers in those grand finals. They are excited to try and get back there to that point in Montana. When you look at the scope of this Central Division one more time, you see a couple of new faces joining this league, and with a lot of those teams kind of at the even mark at the halfway point of the season, they've got a good chance the way these players are going. They just have to kind of iron a few things out.
Yeah, and I mean, even though we're kind of nearing the end of this set, Montana can still definitely at least cause some problems for DePaul. DePaul need as many map wins as they can, because I remember you said it very early on when we were talking about both of these teams in the beginning. There was a team who lost due to one single map, was not able to get in, and that could be punishing. And Montana, they could be the Grinch who stole that map difference.
Yeah, no, they absolutely can. That is why we play every set out all the way through, even if there are, even if a team cannot have that comeback factor. Those tiebreaker differentials mean so much. Bobby time being locked in on the side of the University of DePaul on the Pokemon trainer. Very good Pokemon trainer. One of the best Pokemon trainers in the EGF based on his record. Forgot My Rice on the side of Montana, rocking the Yoshi for our final set of the day, or of this match.
I like Yoshi. Yoshi's really nice, and solely just because Yoshi's a floaty character, but without the weakness of a Jigglypuff or a Kirby or even a Toon Link. Rather, it is going to be a lot more work to be knocking this Yoshi out of the stage, and especially with that recovery, it's a good moment. I just feel Bobby Time, even having the ability to go Charizard and be able to burst that damage, it's going to be a lot more work on their hands.
Absolutely. Bobby Time for the moment with a percent lead, and he finds that up there too. Rice looked like he was, maybe out of threat range, but that up there, it is massive, and is able to take that first stop.
I mean, it's incredibly impressive. You don't often see the Ivysaur's own kind of ranged abilities used to break down Yoshi's utility, and that's kind of the own counterplay in itself. That was an impressive parry, by the way, but unfortunately, not too much coming out of it. That's the only issue, is Forgot My Rice is not getting any value with the things that they are doing.
Lots and lots of percent being racked up here. Just nowhere for Forgot My Rice to go, and Bobby Time finds another up air, and already Forgot My Rice is on his last stop.
This Ivysaur is absolutely beautiful. Wish it was in Pokemon Legends, because it's one I'd want to catch. I mean, just look, every time a Yoshi egg comes out, it immediately gets broken, and it's almost like semi-zoning. You're not stopping your opponent from walking into you. You're stopping them from using abilities that get to you. And I gotta say, coming out from Bobby Time, that's really unsurprising, but it's still impressive nonetheless.
There's no time for Forgot My Rice to do anything. Like you said, that shield pressure just always on, and even when Forgot My Rice gets away, there's nowhere for him to go, and that back air connects and gets the kill, and Bobby Time starting off the day with a restock.
I'm sorry. What got me with that 3 stock was the beautiful back air coming from the Charizard. I mean, that was the first time we got to see it throughout this entire match, and I mean, the range is just insane. Poor Forgot My Rice didn't even know what hit them. That's just a like a tail whip, you know. That move doesn't even do damage in the games, but I guess in here it is just absolutely shining. And unfortunately, though, I think that kind of shows one of the bigger weaknesses of Forgot My Rice, and that's kind of more of the slow reaction time. I don't know if this, maybe using this round similar to Rald as a moment of learning, it still didn't work out to the greatest, as they got punished continuously. They basically were playing with no fingers.
I mean, to some degree, it reminds me of the Legacy Colo match we saw earlier in this very set, right? Just Forgot My Rice just couldn't get anything started, and Bobby Time, it just every opening he had, he knew exactly what to do or exactly what he wanted to do. You know, finds a Razor Leaf, let me go in with a Nair afterwards. Finds one projectile, let me do this instead. Gets around with the switch to the Charizard, all right, instantly, you know, retreating back air in case he tries to approach and catch my landing. It is just so clean from Bobby Time in this first set. I mean, and this is what is the scary part about DePaul in particular, right? You have all of these, you know, very talented players, and then you get to like these players like Bobby Time who just week in and week out are putting up 3 stocks. Matt Beach is another one that we didn't get to see today, who's constantly just oppressive in his play style.
You know, you make a very great point, but we'll have to see. Will we have a different style coming out of Bobby Time? I mean, I'd say yes, the Squirtle rather than the Ivysaur as the first pick. On a map like this is definitely more of a Yoshi time to shine. But then again, even if you have a really good recovery, does it matter when Bobby consistently just knocks you out of the stage?
Yeah, not the case. Oh, the dash from Bobby Time. Thought he was going to go for a grab and did not, but forward air, not going to land. Gets around that forward smash as well. Things relatively even at the start of this match, but that grab going to whiff. Forgot My Rice, gets him off stage, finds a forward smash, and stock number 1 off the board of Bobby Time.
I gotta say, that's really good starting off, showing that, yes, that map was solely to figure out how your style is, but I mean, the bigger problem is that Charizard is still a hard character to try and play against, does good damage, and Bobby Time, already a skilled player in their own right. One good back air, one good fire charge will take you out, and that's not good on a character who basically gets hit like a piñata.
That was a clean recovery from Forgot My Rice. Finds the up B, holds onto his jump, and then lands just in time to get that up tilt, that up smash from Bobby Time, not going to take the stock quite yet. Forgot My Rice is able to land, and so Bobby Time now kind of struggling to find an opening to take the stock. Quick options here from Forgot My Rice are really racking up the damage, and that up smash is going to seal the deal. So now Bobby Time on his last stop.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how Bobby Time's own playstyle has completely switched. They're almost playing defensively, letting Rice get the edge at times. I mean, just the example of that, you know, when they lost that second stock, that's a moment where Bobby Time normally easily reacts to, but, you know, tried to go for the parry, tried to style in, gets punished for it. Now is at the back foot, maybe a challenge on their own right, but Forgot My Rice has the opportunity to show you, saying, hey, take me seriously, you better be coming at me to take me with 3 stocks.
That up B gonna do a lot to get Yoshi off stage. Great recovery there from Forgot My Rice to get around that forward smash, but that up air again, catching the jump from Forgot My Rice, so things back to even here on this last stop.
I mean, though, yes, Bobby Rice is the one at a higher percentage, I feel this is still much harder for Forgot My Rice. Bobby Time has now put in the focus, and as you can see, they're doing amazing when it comes down to the Ivysaur, stopping any room to escape, and Yoshi jumps so high that is it really worth it to even jump? The Ivysaur is just controlling the space of the game.
Good up tilt, that up air not going to connect, but the turnaround from Bobby Time has Forgot My Rice in disadvantage. That up B does connect here. Forgot My Rice in the corner, trying to find a way out. Can't find the down tilts. That up B, again, very threatening. Back to center stage goes Forgot My Rice. Forward air not going to connect, and so many quick options here from this Ivysaur, but the dash attack is able to land. Switch to Charizard to get away for now, and Charizard, so many quick kill options. That up tilt, nearly getting the kill, but it was parried. That up tilt from Forgot My Rice, trying to set up something and finds the up smash, and Forgot My Rice takes a point for Montana.
That's a punishment if I've ever seen one, showing you that you've got to take your opponent seriously. There is not a moment where you can just kind of hesitate or kind of, let them get the edge. I definitely feel Bobby Time was also holding a lot out of that flame charge, and I could definitely respect it because it's a risky play. It's so easy to it's so telegraphed, and well, it's easy to punish that I don't really see Bobby Time kind of preferring to use it. But I mean, Forgot My Rice changes up the game, manages to bring out another win for the side of Montana, and that is a beautiful little Mamma Mia pizza, just to feel proud about.
Didn't even realize in that moment, but Bobby Time threw out a forward air, so he wasn't just kind of landing willy-nilly on that platform on main stage. He was trying to land aggressively, and Forgot My Rice just was able to space around it. And even here, just reading the minute he drops the second shield, just saying, hey, I'm just gonna pull the trigger on this, and able to give himself a good lead. Bobby Time was able to battle back, though, as we saw after that point. He said, okay, no more messing around. Let me get myself on the board and get things back on track with that up smash.
It's definitely, I think the better way to describe it is just kind of a miscalculation, Bobby Time, though, I feel looks strongest on the Ivysaur. I don't know what it is about it, but it just seems the ability to stop Forgot My Rice from using their own utility has been the shining point. And when going on to that Charizard, yes, you're going to be in that range, but you are such a heavy and slow character that I feel Forgot My Rice wins in that edge. I mean, especially in these types of moments, you're trying to just get back down on the stage, and well, Forgot My Rice is already sitting there, is looking for that up smash. Now you're looking at a possible first loss when it comes down to the best sets.
Yeah, and when you look at this overall, too, I will say, in that second game, I feel like Forgot My Rice did a very good job of at least making more of controlling center stage, right? It felt like in game number 1, he was in disadvantage a lot, and Bobby Time just, scoped out the options. He just said, okay, you're going to be right here, pulls the trigger on the up air, and all of a sudden, there goes Forgot My Rice's stock. That game, not as easy, and Forgot My Rice, when he had control of center stage, all of a sudden, Bobby Time was on those platforms going, well, now where do I go? If I go left, he's there with an up tilt. If I go in, he's there with a down tilt. However you want to approach, it's not easy when you are above Yoshi on those platforms in the first place. So I feel like that's going to play to that stage selection here. But I'm curious to see if that's kind of the name of the game in game number 3 is who controls center stage.
That's definitely, I think, the better way to kind of go look at the way that they're fighting center stage is such a good ground when it comes to that neutral, especially since there's no top middle. There's only 2 small platforms. This could be an easier time for Bobby just to kind of control the ring, but Forgot My Rice still thrives here.
We are on small battlefield. There's the early up B, getting that kind of guaranteed percentage onto Forgot My Rice, and this Squirtle putting in a lot of work. You made a point that you thought his Ivysaur was one of his best, and I agree, but this Squirtle right now is moving. Great tether cancel too, and that back air again from Charizard nearly connecting, could have been dangerous. That spacing just slightly off, and Forgot My Rice just trying to find any kind of opening, and look at how much threat Bobby Time is posing just by the spacing that he's controlling.
I mean, this is why, why I say those characters are as good as they are. I mean, Forgot My Rice now has no room to really fall on the stage without fear of just being hit. And what did I say? The Charizard just has so much range that it's incredibly disrespectful to, I guess, run at it without a clear plan.
Run up smash from Bobby Time, and that will be the first stock off the board of Forgot My Rice. Wants the forward air, can't find it. Bobby Time landing, but no punish from Forgot My Rice. That's a huge opening.
Honestly, it's a massive opening more than anything. Just looking to finish out this stock. Bobby time, we see them respecting Forgot My Rights, especially on these edges. So they just prioritize trying to go for these counter plays. Still, not looking to use that flame charge, even though it does a lot of damage. I guess they just don't feel the ends justify the means.
Neutral beat also gonna stuff out some options. That back air, just the edge of it connecting, and Forgot My Rice on his last stock. Bobby time at 130. This could be a quick one. That back air wanted the down air instead. Nearly got up into an up smash, so both of them kind of playing with fire on these stocks, but again, it's gonna take a lot for Forgot My Rice to really turn this around. Lands the forward air, the reversal onto Bobby time.
It's definitely not a bad plan, but you're now at really high stock. The comeback is still possible. I mean, Forgot My Rice has definitely shown that ability to go up against, but has to play incredibly careful. One big mistake, and it definitely costs him. Bobby time is trying to force that out by limiting the options as well, but, I mean, Forgot My Rice has already shown to be able to counterplay it. I guess you just have to go against the raw damage.
Forgot My Rice dashed a little bit too far away there and couldn't punish that Ivy sword. Now this Charizard's out. So much raw kill power on the table. The forward air will do it, and Bobby time will take game number 3 in a 2-stock. And DePaul, they are back with a stomping victory here in their first week back.
I mean, honestly, I gotta say, very impressive showcase for your first time coming back, especially as defending champs. Definitely feel that they have worked for this, and they have sweat every blood in their body off just to kind of perfect their own styles. But, you know, on the side of Montana, we still got to give them love. They have a lot of talent as well. What I mean by talent often is, because we say it so often, I feel some people kind of misread what that is. And, you know, when I say talent, I mean players who have so much potential that we have to be paying attention to them. And I feel Montana, there's already 2 players who have shown off that they can basically go up against one of the top teams and basically make them have to start sweating for a tiny second.
No, absolutely. I think for Montana, I mean, you've got some players with a lot of potential, that is for certain. And I think the EGF is one of those teams. You've got such a wide variety of talent in this league that you never really know what you're going to expect week to week. And so now this is just the first taste for Montana of what to expect, of what it's going to take if you're going to want a championship. And, you know, this was DePaul's week at the end of the day, but still, you know, we did see they got 2 points on the board, and they did get, you know, they had a lot of kind of right idea, wrong execution. I also say that a lot, but, you know, I think of Rald and on that Greninja numerous times, just able to weave around for so long, but you can only grind for so long, right? The top players, and that's what DePaul has really done, is when you have to go through those kind of grindy matchups where it's just you have to keep your mental game so strong, it is so taxing. And for a young team like Montana, that's where what they were exposed to today. But they're going to take this and they're going to learn from it.
I definitely agree. The next time we see Montana, they may look like an entirely different opponent. So I guess that just leads into, you know, the interview, other things, and, well, giving love to these teams.
Absolutely. DePaul, they get the victory here. We will get an interview with one of their players in just a moment. We'll be cutting to a short break to do so. Don't go anywhere. Hello, welcome back to EGFC. We are here with Legacy from the University of DePaul, who got the victory over Montana this week. Legacy, Montana is one of these new schools in the EGF. How do you prepare for a brand new team that you got no info on?
Yeah, honestly, we were actually kind of stumped on how to approach this. We kind of did whatever research we could, but not a whole lot came up. So this was probably one of the few times where a lot of us kind of went in blind with our answers and like sort of what we thought they were gonna pick, who they were gonna send out. So this was definitely an interesting opponent, I'd say, because I don't think any of us on the team have heard of them before. And I mean, I'm actually new to the team, starting like this year, kind of. DePaul's like, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of great Smash. So I, as well as Cookie, we're on the JV team for the fall sort of term, if you will. So this was kind of like my EGF debut. So I honestly had no idea what was going on. I kind of just played.
Yeah, honestly, that is really interesting as well, because you guys are coming back, as defending champs, going up against opponents that you're not necessarily used to or really going in. So I guess, how do you guys practice against an opponent that you know nothing about?
Honestly, I think I probably can speak for myself and probably for almost everyone else on the team. We practice a lot. A lot of us go to tournaments in Chicago. You'll practice online, offline. We'll literally play whoever. So I think for most of us, it's kind of just the same thing of playing people that are new to us, like different matchups, stuff we feel like we need to improve on. So even though they weren't really known to us, I still think that a lot of us, myself included, we kind of approached practice the same way that we do anyways, which is kind of just play whoever, whenever, and yeah, so kind of just the same old, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, that makes a lot of sense, though. I tend to wonder, because I've never been a champion myself, I've always got to try my hardest, but there is always someone who is stronger, which is a good mindset to have. But, as you guys are coming back in, is there any pressure that you guys feel to have to outperform your past selves?
That I'm not going to speak on behalf of anyone but myself.
Alright, fair enough.
Honestly, not really. To me, I'm kind of just, for me, Smash competition is a personal journey. So obviously, outside expectations will always be there, regardless if you're viewed as good or not. But I think to be a true competitor is to go beyond those expectations and solely sort of believe in yourself and set those expectations for yourself rather than have other people set them for you. Because ultimately, if you are kind of going based off of what other people say, then mentally, sometimes that can cause a lot of issues. So I would definitely say that for me, it's more of just like a personal journey. Each week that I play, I'm trying to get better. So obviously, if I'm improving, then I hope our record is too. So
Absolutely. It showed today. And by the way, congrats on your first, showing here in the EGF. You looked fantastic. While you're here, is there anyone you would like to shout out or thank?
oh man, so many people. But honestly, really, shout outs to the DePaul JV team. Like I said earlier, but we're really privileged at DePaul. We have a lot of fantastic talent at our school. Guys who are on the cusp of being ranked, guys who have beat ranked players, made great tournament runs. So, and honestly, like, you can't forget about the guys who are always grinding. And for me, that's like the JV program. We did a lot of great advertising this year. Calling it like DePaul Blue Demon Esports, like Smash JV, whatnot. So we got a lot of great talent. And ultimately, I think it's just important to remember kind of like your roots and where you come from. So definitely, shout out to the new captain as well, Turbo, guy, one of the most charismatic people I know. And yeah, honestly, just kind of shouting out the JV team and now the new varsity guys. Everyone is, really good, first of all, but they're also all amazing people and they're all doing amazing things in their lives. So just definitely the DePaul Smash program for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, Legacy. We'll see you next week when you guys take on Weber State, and congrats on your victory this week.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thanks for having us on the stream. Really appreciate it.
Always a blast. And with that, we'll be cutting to a short break. When we come back, it is the Canisius Golden Griffins versus the Niagara Purple Eagles, the Battle of the Bridge. For this.